Hey guys, it's Jeremy with Dragon's Breath Glassworks. I wanted to take a moment just to talk to you a little bit about some things that I've been asked recently a lot, but in general, over the years, I've been asked quite frequently as well. And it has a lot to do with sort of titles and your place in the glass shop and what's expected and how you come up through the ranks and that sort of thing. And as a general rule, at least in my experience in American glass shops specifically, because that's where my knowledge base is, a lot of the titles that people outside of the industry or lay people think about aren't really used. So the big one that comes to mind is like the master glassblower, right? You do get that used occasionally in American shops. There are very few true maestros or masters out there, and even fewer in American studios than, say, in Europe. The guild system, as it existed in the Renaissance, doesn't really exist, at least in the States. Maybe in Europe a little bit, but really here in the US it does not. And so the idea of an apprentice and a journeyman and a master glassblower, they don't really exist here. Oftentimes what you'll see in American studios is the owner of the studio will call themselves the master of the studio or master glassblower, but that's kind of rare, honestly. Really what you get is owner or lead glassblower or lead gaffer, and those things all kind of can be used interchangeably, but really there are some finer points to make about those titles. So generally speaking, unless you are the type of person who calls yourself master glassblower because you own a studio, which those folks are pretty rare. A little caveat, a little side point here. I do occasionally refer to myself as master glassblower, not as a testament to my skill set, because I certainly have not been deemed a master by my peers, and not as a commentary on that I own the studio, but in the niche market in which I operate, which is Renaissance festivals. My public, my patrons, the people who come to the festival, they expect that title, and so I give it to them. But that's kind of a performance piece, right? So when it's not the Renaissance Festival and I'm not in garb and I'm not performing, I am either the lead glassblower or the gaffer, depending on what I'm doing that day. And those terms, while often used interchangeably, are not quite. So in my mind, at least, a lead glassblower is someone who is directing the day's production or the day's work. They may be the ones sitting at the bench as well, doing the actual gaffing. They may be blowing and leading their small team, even if it's just solo work or just one person helping one assistant. But the lead glassblower is a person who is ultimately responsible for that day's work in the shop, no matter how many benches are working. If it's a one bench shop or a 5 bench shop, that lead glassblower is in charge. The lead gaffer, or just the gaffer, is the person who's actively sitting at the bench at that moment working on the piece. And what you'll see frequently in shops that work production styles is that the person with the most experience may not be the gaffer at that moment. They may be doing one part of the process, and the person making the production might be slightly less experienced overall, but more experienced in that piece. It's really a shop-by-shop basis on how that works. So real brief, the basic idea of the master glassblower, that to me, and it kind of goes the same thing with master sculptor or master painter or any sort of master level artist, and that is, you are not a master until you are deemed to be such by your peers. And there's not a hard and fast rule for that. It's not well, he did this art for 10 years or 20 or 40 years, so we have to call him a master. Unlike apprentice and journeyman, where there are actual benchmarks that are set in a guild system, where once you've reached so many years and so many hours of experience, or can make certain items, then that grants you that title, which again in the US that guild system doesn't really exist, at least not for glass. I can't speak to all art craft because that's not my expertise. But hopefully that answers some of those questions. We are going to start doing 2 videos a week here. 1 video a week will always be some sort of crafting, some sort of glass demonstration, either explaining a piece or teaching how we do something. And the second video that we'll try to release every week is going to be more of these sort of like discussions about aspects of the glass shop. So this is our first one, sort of titles and expectations in a glass shop, or titles and job roles. And I will be hopefully uploading this on Friday. So what we're going to be trying to shoot for here is 1 video on Tuesdays doing sort of more of the demonstrations, and 1 video on Fridays doing sort of kind of stream of consciousness discussing what goes on in a glass shop. So I hope you guys found that interesting, and there will be another announcement coming up soon about our giveaways. I hope you will follow us for that. So if you do like this, like and subscribe. There's a button down there, hit the bell to get notifications when we do release new videos. And there's going to be some videos kind of here-ish for you if you want to click on those. And really, thanks a lot, guys. I appreciate your time. You have a wonderful day.